Hey, 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 you dirty dogs. So this is something I wrote up week 5, October 7th, week 5 of the NFL. I'm just going to read it and then we'll go through some of the stuff. Things I'm looking at. The Rock said Super Gold Sunday. Golden State Warriors won the championship. He mentioned Halley's Comet, space theme, Astros, Mets World Series, question mark. Golden State Warriors number 30 was hurt most of the year before coming back and winning. Dak Prescott gets hurt first game. If out till week 6, could fit the same scheme. Super Bowl 30, Broncos versus Cowboys. Odell to one of those, question mark. Tua, also Samoan, got hurt at the 50-yard line, and I have The Rock at 50 years, who's also Samoan, who played at Miami, which I have rest in peace, on February 8, 2023. Stafford, ex-Detroit Lion, home of the Tigers, goes to the Rams and wins a Super Bowl year of the Tiger. Ex-Tigers, Verlander, get it? This is a month before the World Series, all right? Ex-Tigers, Verlander, and Scherzer go to the Mets and Astros. Maybe a World Series, which we all know I predicted the Astros. And they won the World Series exactly how I said they would, 4-2. I thought it was going to be 11-4, but they did have a rain delay, so they won on 11-5. I called that several months ahead of time. Michigan Wolverines fit the yellow and blue year of the Tiger. And now we know they're in the national championship top 4 possibilities right now. Hopefully they beat TCU and then knock off maybe Georgia, I think, in the championship. The year of the Tiger, like Rams and the Golden State colors that won, and Ukraine at war, which have the same colors. But I see a Bush connection to Astros, Cowboys, and the Mavs coming. 2023 is the year of the rabbit. 279 life path. We know all the 279s I've showed you now recently, with the Iraq dinar lining up with Bush and Trump with 1-4, 2023. Rabbits is friend is boar and the horse. We know the Mavericks is a horse. Watch out for the rooster is the enemy. So watch out for the horse theme. Cowboys, Broncos, Bills, Bucks, Buckeyes, and we have Ohio State that's in the top 4 in the national championship. You also always have Brady that's a possibility of going into the postseason. Hopefully he doesn't, because I've got him losing. We'll see. And Eminem, and I mentioned before the NFL season, Brady misses the playoffs going 9-8, and the Queen dies on 9-8. Maybe he goes 8-9, because 9-8 is written 8-9 in every other country but the U.S. We'll see what happens there. The Queen dies on 9-8. I say the Broncos will go 9-6 versus the Cowboys. So that was initially whenever I was on the Broncos before the season. They had that horse theme. But even in this post, even when I'm still on the Broncos going against the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, I'm mentioning Miami and Tua and the Samoan connection. So, and then the Queen dies at 96. And you saw all my other stuff I put out right around this time about, actually before this, about Brittany Griner going to jail, getting 9 years, 6 months, and going out. And I said the B system is over, because she went out on the day after Tom Brady's birthday, on Obama's birthday, which is the 216th day of the year. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Lo and behold, when she got sentenced back in, February or March, when she just recently got out, she was only in for 42 weeks. And she was number 42. And I called, I don't know if there's anybody. Now, I know I said the B system is over, and I think the B system is over, okay? we're on to another system. We're going into another system. And the old system had something to do with 73. And this new system has something to do with 74. I don't know how to explain it. That's all I can see, because that's all I'm seeing those numbers. Okay. And I've also seen some other people's YouTubes. I get most of my information off YouTube. And then I also, kick it out with news, and then, just anything that gets put out and comes to my reality, I try to piece it all together. But Brady won the Super Bowl 53, 42 months later, exactly to this year on his birthday was 42 months. I said the beast system ended, and I put out a video on his birthday, and the next day, number 42, Brittney Griner went to jail. And she gets out 42 weeks after she was in jail and got put in. She gets 9 years, 6 months, exactly 6 months and 9 days to the Super Bowl. And the Queen dies at 96 years old. There's a yin-yang. And that's kind of funny, because Brittney Griner is a man playing women's WNBA basketball. She's got pictures out there with her shirt off as a dude. I just saw a video yesterday. It's kind of crazy. It was an interview, and it looked like she got in a scuffle with another woman, and she was telling the interviewer, I'm a grown man. It was a Freudian slip. Anyway, was I ahead of my time at the stuff that I'm seeing right here? Because right now, the Astros came out exactly how I said it would. Michigan and Ohio State are both in the Final Four. I don't even know anybody. I know who C.J. Stroud is for Ohio. I couldn't tell you the name of one person on Michigan's team. I don't watch these games. So how am I figuring this stuff out? I know who Verlander is, because he was from Detroit. And I did a slight bit of research after I realized that Stafford won the Super Bowl, and he was a Tiger, and it was the year of the Tiger, and he went to the Rams and won the year of the Tiger. So then you got Verlander, who's down there in the Astros, and he wins the year of the Tiger, and he was a Tiger. Let's see if something with Wolverines come out. Now, I'm actually following this other guy now. This new guy, I forgot his name, but he thinks that certain energy. So I've always thought that 13 was a lucky number. And I know a lot of streaks end at 14, but I think it's really, when you look at it, it's the number 13 is lucky. And he's the only other guy that I've actually seen following patterns of 13. He thinks that when something happens in a city, somebody is killed, all right, that energy, there's not, just like physics, all energy can't be created nor destroyed, okay? And just like karma, it comes back to you. What goes up must come down. And for every action is an equal and opposite reaction. And he thinks that if certain people are killed, their energy goes to that area where they are killed. They get to harness that energy, and something good comes from it. So if there's a plane crash in an area, 13 years later, something big happens to that city. So he has called out, it's Can You Dig It? His channel is Can You Dig It? He believes that Christ is a Christ frequency, not an actual person, a frequency. And that when he comes as a frequency. I don't know everything. I can't be too specific. I just now started listening to him. But I noticed that he was on that number 13, and something good happening after you kill, or a catastrophic event, let's say. So he thinks that when they had the Oklahoma City bombing, if you look that up, 13 years later, they get the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they may have won 2008. When David Koresh killed all those people in Waco, it was exactly where the compound was. It was exactly 13 miles from Baylor. And 13 years later, they created a university. He thinks that when JFK died, 13 years later, because that's a universal thing for the United States got Apple, and Apple is a huge company. That's a little bit harder to connect there, but was JFK from New York? I guess the Lord works in mysterious ways. That would be kind of crazy because that's the Big Apple, right? So start looking at things that happened and see if there's a pattern 13 years later. Now, if he's able to pick up on this, there's also things that I see all the time. I'm a pattern guy. I don't just look at numbers. I look at patterns. And I know sometimes patterns get coders in trouble because they'll be like, oh, Gonzaga's going to win the national championship. It's been 20 years since this and 20 this and 20 that and 20 that. And they don't look at some of the numbers, and sometimes the patterns screw you up. And sometimes when the patterns are so perfect, it's the exact opposite of that pattern. Just like if there is a harnessing of energy from a death, it doesn't stay negative, it goes positive, which is kind of crazy. And he's saying that he's tapping into, just like what goes up, what goes down. It makes sense that if someone is killed, somehow you harness that energy and can make it into something good, or something good happens in that area 13 years later. I don't know if that happens on an individual personal level, or if it's just on an area level. And that might be why they have all of these catastrophic events and different things that they manufacture in different areas. And it also, if you haven't noticed too, it might not just be 13 years. There may be some other pattern that something happens 13 months later, right? Maybe still around 13. Could be 13 weeks, could be 13 months, could be 1.3 years. Who knows? I haven't looked into all that, because I notice that when there's catastrophic events, usually sometime around that same time frame within a year, that area gets a Super Bowl, or that area gets a championship of some sort. So actually, I'm noticing so I was just looking at something just for the heck of it. We had a housing crisis in Detroit around 2009, 2010. 13 years later would be right now, okay? And if Michigan wins the national championship, that would kind of fit that bill. So like they had that. The other thing was like they had the Uvalde. If the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, I look at that Uvalde. The Astros already won the World Series, as predicted. But they had that Uvalde shooting that was down there, okay, in Texas. Miami had that blackout and that hurricane, and they were underwater. And I know we're going to an Aquarius, and we're in a whole water themes and all kinds of stuff like that. So maybe they're the other side of it. You already know about all my other connections with The Rock and Tua and Slammed at the 50 and whew. Anyway, you see some of my old stuff that I come up with. This is how I kind of piece stuff together. I look at patterns, I look at colors, I look at numbers. I try to look at everything. I don't just try to be one-sided. And I will take anybody's information and try to piece it together and connect the dots. Just like Pee Wee Herman said. Ha ha! La 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 la, connect the dots. He told us as kids. So, anyway. Have a good one, you dirty dog. Word to the mother.